Namaskar, everyone. We are here as interested people in the Odia retelling of Mahabharat called Sārala Mahābhārata. I am joined by Professor Patnaik. Professor B.N. Patnaik is a retired professor of English and linguistics at IIT Kanpur. And since his retirement, 2 decades of his love with Sārala Mahābhārata, and he has written a lot of notes on it. He runs a blog on it, and he has dedicated his past 20 years, 2 decades, to Sārala Mahābhārata. So, thank you for joining us, Professor Patnaik. With us is also Dr. Khirod Maharana. He's an anthropologist. He teaches at Allahabad University, and this is his and my first foray into Sārala Mahābhārata, being Odia's, discovering the retelling of Mahabharat in Odia, and I'm Vineet Sahu. I teach philosophy at IIT Kanpur. So this is what we are. And now I would invite Professor Patnaik to share uh, an introduction to what Sarala Mahabharat is to people who may not know or may not have heard of it. Professor Patnaik.
Uh, uh, Thank you very much, Dr. Sahu. Sāral Mahābhārata was written by the poet Sāral Das. And when we call Sāral Mahābhārata, we talk about the poet and his creation in the same phrase, Sāral Mahābhārata. Sāra is the poet and Mahābhārata is the text. So Sāral Mahābhārata is the text. Poet Sāral Das in the 15th century composed this, and his text was, and his composition is called Mahābhārata, but popularly it is known as Sāral Mahābhārata. Now, what is interesting about Sāral Mahābhārata is that Sāral Das is the first non-Brahmin poet who retold the entire 18 purpose of Sāra, the entire purpose of Vyasa Mahābhārata, in any regional language. He is the first. And Sāra Mahābhārata is not a translation of Vyasa Mahābhārata. And as Dr. Sahu has said, he nicely used the word retelling. So it is a retelling of Vyasa Mahābhārata, we can say. Or even better, it is a retelling of the ancient story of the Kurus in the last phase of the Kuru dynasty, in the last part of the Kuru dynasty. So why I'm saying this is when he retold Sāral Mahābhārata, he fused into it elements or episodes from Srimad Bhagavata, from Skanda Purana, and many other things. That is why basically it is a retelling of Mahabharata, not a translation. And a retailer has the creative freedom to retell a text that he is retelling using his own, to express his own poetic vision and understanding of life. So what Sāral has done is he has precisely done this. He has internalized Sāral, he has reconceptualized, internalized Mahabharata, reconceptualized it, and retold it in Odia. So that's what he has done. Okay, and just one more thing, and this Varsaharan episode is an extremely important episode. It's a kind of turning point in the narrative. Now, what was before, the things changed after this. For example, Draupadi was a very very kind of decent, kind of ordinary, any ordinary kind of household, any ordinary kind of woman in the household. But then after this, she becomes very violent. So that kind of thing. So in many ways, you will see in many ways, this becomes a turning point. So this is an extremely important episode. So thank you very much. This is what I thought.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Patnaik. So here we have a linguist, an anthropologist, and a philosopher united in their love for rediscovering the Sārala Mahābhārata. So We are doing this as an for audience who are either Odias trying to rediscover their own sense of Sarala Mahabharat, or for people who are curious about it. So I hope you have an enriching time listening to this. Now I'll invite Dr. Kirod Marana to recite an excerpt from Sarala Mahabharat in Odia and talk a little about it from three perspectives. So hopefully three of us will bring three perspectives to the same happening here. Dr. Marana, please.
Thank you, Dr. Binit. It's my pleasure to start a journey with both of you. This recitation is basically from after I'll recite, then I will talk about a little what exactly is this. This is basically from a particular section of Sabha Parva that's called Kuru Sabhare Draupadi Apamana. The title is Kuru Sabhare Draupadi Apamana, and page number is uh, you know 323. So let me first recite, then I will talk about a little. শুনি রোষে বলে রাজা, আরে দুঃশাসন, তুরিত ফেড় দ্রৌপদী অঙ্গরু বসন, কেমন্তে রখিবে হরি দেখিবা এহাকু, শুনি দুঃশাসন ধাই গলা তা পাশকু, দ্রৌপদী বলন্তি রহ রহ দুঃশাসন, ମୋ ପାଞ୍ଚପତି ବସି ଛନ୍ତି ସନ୍ନିଧାନ, ଏତେବେଳେ ଏହାଙ୍କୁ ମୁଁ କହେ ପଦେ ପଦେ, ରଖିବେ କି ନ ରଖିବେ ପଡ଼ିଛି ବିପଦେ, ଯୁଧିଷ୍ଠିଙ୍କୁ ଚାହିଁ ଦେବି ଲୋତକ ଲୋଚନେ, କହନ୍ତି ଭୋ ପ୍ରଭୁ ଥାଇ ତବ ସନ୍ନିଧାନେ। ବାର ନାରୀ ପ୍ରାୟ ଆଣି କରନ୍ତି ଏ ବଳେ, ଧର୍ମରାଜ ବୋଲାଉଛ ଏ ମହି ମଣ୍ଡଳେ, ଏ ମହାସଭାରେ ଦେବ ତୁମ୍ଭର ମଣିକି, ବିବସ୍ତ୍ର କଲେ ତୁମ୍ଭକୁ ଲଜ୍ଜା ନ ହେବ କି, ଶୁଣି ଯୁଧିଷ୍ଠିତଳକୁ ପୋତିଲେ ବଦନ, ପ୍ରତି ଉତ୍ତର ନ ଦେଲେ ହୋଇଲେ ମୌନ। Okay, so this small recitation is about Draupadi's request that don't tell anything against Sri Krishna. And after that, Duryodhana became very, very angry and instructed Dushasana to disrobe Draupadi. Afterwards, again Draupadi, requested, let me also talk to my husbands. There are 5 husbands, and Draupadi started talking to Yudhishthir. It's about she requested. There are a lot of Dushasana actually trying to disrobe me, trying please you should actually keep me, you should keep my honor. So that is what is the meaning of this small recitation. Okay, over to Binit.
Right. So thank you, Kirod, Professor Patnaik. Now, please go ahead and share with us the significance of this event and how does this play about. So as most of you would have guessed, we are talking about Draupadi's Vastraharan as an episode here and how it has been dealt with. So we had a recitation from Kirod, and now Professor Patnaik will share his input on this incident.
This is a very important incident. And as I had said earlier, It's a kind of turning point. Up to now, Draupadi was like any other housewife who lives in a decent household, who lived in dignity, who lived with dignity. No, she gave no reason to anyone in the Kuru family, either the Pandavas or the Kaurava side. She gave no reason whatsoever uh, for their being unhappy with her. And no one had any grouse, no one was unhappy with her either. And unlike in Vasa Mahabharata, as I had said earlier, that's retelling and there are many deviations. Unlike in Vasa Mahabharata, where uh, Karna was one of the persons present who was a party to the humiliation of Draupadi. Here it is not. Everyone knew in the world of Sāral Mahabharata that Karna was the eldest son of Kunti. And Karna knew that Draupadi was the wife of his younger brothers. So he maintained the dignity of relationship towards his sister-in-law throughout. And the same holds for Draupadi. She had never said, unlike in Vasamavata, she had never said that she would not marry a Sutaputra. So that incident is not here. So that is no, that episode is there, but this is not there. So it is so, and Draupadi had no one was displeased with her, and she had not done anything to displease anyone in the Kuru family. Now, but and I have a feeling that if they wanted to disrobe Draupadi, it is to humiliate the Pandavas through humiliating her. Now, in any case, when that happened, after that, Draupadi was no more the same. She was extremely angry. She could not manage she could not live with that insult, and she begged for the Kaurava's blood, the Kaurava's blood. So that is a very important turning point. And a couple of other things of significance which one might lose if one doesn't read it line by line and think of it again and again. And that is this question of predetermination is very much here. It is predetermined that things would happen the way they happen. And then the question of karma comes. So, for example, Sahadeva knew that Draupadi had to be humiliated the way she was being humiliated, so that the Kaurava brothers would be destroyed. But he was also a husband, so he knew what is written in destiny, or what is the writing of destiny. But then, as a husband, all that he did was he simply told Draupadi, bear this insult, because this is necessary for the Kauravas to be destroyed. Now that is the destiny. But then it didn't even look that Draupadi could hear this. Because she didn't respond. In any case, so to cut that long story short, so this question of predetermination and response and karma and responsibility of the human responsibility and duty, this question comes up. And another important question comes up, that is, it seems that the same thing. As Chomsky said, that there is something called an Orwell's problem. That is, there is so much data available all over, and yet we don't seem to learn. Now that day, Draupadi, they saw what they saw was that Draupadi could not be disrobed and all that, and yet all that happened, and yet nobody seemed to have understood the significance of all this. That something that had happened which was unpredictable, something that had happened which was inexplicable. Who clothed her, and all that. And finally, the other thing is, contrary to what is popularly held, it is not Krishna who directly came to her rescue. It is the sun god. So the question of how does grace operate? So these questions are raised here, and that's why to me it's an extremely important thing, both from the point of structure, the narrative, the turning point, and these issues of depth, and significance and philosophical depth are raised here. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Over to you, Dr. Sāral.
Thank
I
you.
hope
Thank
I
you.
didn't take long.
No.
Okay.
That's perfect. Thank you, sir. Thank you for your inputs. And let me share, as a philosopher, I see it through two perspectives. First is the role of epics. How does it matter? Because epics, to me, is is uh, is a distillation of our own culture and history. The very fact that the same epic is retold in various traditions is also telling about what kind of tradition that we come from, or what have been our traditional moorings right from the beginning. So that, I think, is a very crucial thing, to take epics much more than just stories, because life itself is a narrative, it's a story. So to understand epics, to understand Kamban Ramayan, is to understand how Tamil culture has come along. To understand Sarala Mahabharat is to understand Odisha. To understand Odisha is also to understand oneself as an Odia, or as a one interested in Odisha. So epics are far more serious than just stories, and I think epics are beautiful because they have been carried forth by the oral tradition for centuries effortlessly, without state funding, without documentation. It has still gone on in different traditions, different parts of the world. So the epics is like our bridge to the past. That is the first observation I had. And the second observation I had about Draupadi's Vastraharan here, and Sir will eventually tell us that there are so many differences between Sarala Mahabharat and the Vyasa Mahabharat. One, I think, which greatly moved me is that absolute absence of the Gita in Sarala Mahabharat. There was no delusion for Arjuna to go ahead and fight. Sir, is this correct? Do I remember
Yeah, yeah,
correctly?
yeah, yeah.
So, so here, I would say Draupadi's case is a case of Lajya, the Vastraharan that takes place. There has been no physical disrobing, but it has been such a big mental world trauma, a human world trauma, that the whole notion of Lajya has been violated without any physical event at all. So it, in that sense, tells us that sometimes mental harm, or mental insults can be far more powerful than physical insults. So let me read out from what Professor Patnaik wrote to me, wrote to us about this particular incident, which I think excellently quotes. I don't see any better way of wording it. So Professor Patnaik writes, I quote, "Now think of this. That day in the Kaurava court, it was indeed Draupadi's day, not her tormentors. She could not be disrobed, and that too when her husbands did not help her. Duryodhana's palace was on fire when Draupadi cast an angry glance on it. Duryodhana's queen rushed to the court and virtually prayed to Draupadi. Everyone knew Draupadi's power. Dhritarashtra returned everything to her, more out of fear than anything else, such as genuine repentance. In short, her tormentors did not succeed, but suffered humiliation in the Kaurava court. But Draupadi did not return as a woman who was a winner. She returned as a loser. Others may think differently, but that was her feeling. What Draupadi lost was her Lajja. Lajja is a feeling. That she could not be disrobed did not comfort her." End quote. I think this very beautifully puts out that the violation that took place for Draupadi. So this is the first of our many, hopefully many episodes that we'll have, where we can talk about it, enrich each other, and perhaps even leave some trails for people who would be interested in this. So, Kirod, sir, anything else that you would like to add? We can talk about it for a few minutes.
Okay. As an anthropologist and sociologist, I have a couple of points. First is the very act of Draupadi's disrobing, um, and wagering Draupadi. Uh, can a human being wager another human being? That is what the thing that came to my mind. Was it possible in the time when Mahabharata was written? Definitely, it was the practice. That's why it was written in Mahabharata. That's why it got a place in Mahabharata. So that means there was a practice of measuring a human being by another human being. In fact, selling or buying human being or measuring human being uh, springs from a fundamental kind of practice or considering uh, human being as object. Okay, when we objectify human being, consider human being as objects, then we can actually think of measuring or selling or uh, you know buying. So I'm not talking about. We can talk about later about the normative, line dimension of this, whether it should be done or not. But it was a practice. That is what we have seen. Uh, in fact, in modern days also, we have the IPL. The cricketers are being auctioned in IPL, and there are also organ donations, slavery, and most ugly forms of this practice is, human trafficking, slavery, all this. In fact, the practice has been from the very beginning. When I think when agriculture was started in the history of human evolution, that was a time when people started to sell their labor. So that is the time when people started to kind of, um, commodify a part of their being. So, uh, what I found from this episode is that a human being is is basically measuring another human being, and this practice, yes, it was there, and it is still continues even today in various forms. Though it is illegal now, but it is still being continued, and there are various ugly, forms also. The second part that came to my mind is about the very act of disrobing. In fact, dress is fundamental to human identity. It in fact distinguishes social being from animal being, or social animal from natural animal. So when you disrobe someone, it means you are actually putting him or her to social death. If you want to kind of insult someone, the best thing that you can do is actually to disrobe him or her in public. Uh, and another very sociological and anthropological perspective here is that why Draupadi was chosen. In fact, all the four and five brothers had been now slave to the Kauravas. But why Draupadi? Because uh, society mostly believes that the honor of the family or a lineage is with a female, with a woman of that family. So Kauravas actually, or especially Duryodhana, thought that the best way to insult that family or lineage is to basically disrobe a woman from, particularly Draupadi, from that family, so that the best revenge can be taken. This the dimension or the issue of commodification and sense of dress as our human identity is what I thought can be actually discussed in this context.
Okay.
Thank you, Bin. Now
Thank
we
you,
can.
thank you, Kirot. That was wonderful. Social death and how clothes matter. So we are coming to an end now. Wonderful talking. I hope this is enriching. It is surely enriching for us. It is enriching for everyone else. So thank you very much. And namaskar. We'll reconvene on the same link in some time. Okay. See you.